This is the holy grail of lenses, Canon's RF 28-70 F2. Enjoy the review and the eye candy.
Hello and welcome. My name is Samuel, and in this video, I'll be giving you my review of Canon's RF 28-70 F2. I've had this lens for over a month now, and I've used it for multiple weddings, as well as a documentary interview shoot. And I feel that it's time that I give it a proper review. I'll also have some sample images from a photo walk that I took tonight, as well as some video and photo that I've taken previously, specifically at weddings.
I shoot 99% of my images and video wide open with the aperture, so these are pretty much all at f2. These first sets of images are from our most recent wedding. They're all raw, edited, and now JPEG. And the next series of image is from a local grocery store, and these are all rendered in the JPEG. You can pause the video at any time so that you can study the colors, the lines, lens or lack thereof, distortions, aberrations. You'll also be able to see lens flaring and just an overall idea of what kind of images you're going to get with this lens. I will say most lenses, especially L series lenses or other pro lenses in general, are going to give you excellent images, and it really just comes down to reliability and the versatility of the lens and what focal length and aperture you really need.
I've been using the 28-70 with the Canon R6. I've got two Canon R6s, and I've been using my primary as the 28-70 with battery grip, and then my secondary camera on the left side of the SpiderPro holster, I'll have the R6 with the RF 70-200 2.8, and that's specifically for my hybrid wedding coverage.
I typically shoot probably 90% or more of my images during any given wedding with the 28-70 versus the 70-200, but I will say that when I do use the 70-200, it's absolutely perfect, and it has given me the ability to just really get exceptional images in that circumstance.
The stabilization with the R6 is very good. I've been using it for video handheld for several weddings now.
And as a reminder, it's not the lens that actually has the stabilization. It is the in-body image stabilization in the R6 and or R5. This is cause for celebration.
All right, congratulations.
The stabilization of these things together has been as good, if not better, than anything I've used previously. I've used the RF 35, I've used the RF 24-70, the RF 24-105, RF 70-200, and this has certainly been seemingly the most stable system yet. And you'll see in all of these clips and some in the future to come in this video just how stable this really is. It really is absolutely incredible, and pretty much everything I'm showing you is at full speed, not slowed down from 60 FPS. This is a great example of not only the IBIS. Keep in mind I am dancing here during this, but look at the autofocus. I'm literally running around the dance floor with the bride, and the autofocus of the R6 and the RF 28-70 is literally staying on her. I go over and up around this girl's head, one of the bridesmaids, and it stays on the bride. I mean, just absolutely amazing. And again, I am dancing during this, so keep that in mind. And now we'll have a series of stabilization tests. Again, this is with the R6 and the RF 28-70. Most of these shots that I'll be showing here are shot at 28 millimeters. And here you see I'm actually walking. This is handheld, and this is using two hands to hold the camera. I was really impressed, especially towards the end of my walk here, as I started to, get my stride and better understand how to walk with it. It really just got very stable.
A tracking shot, go ahead, Dragon S.
Again, this is handheld, R6, RF 28-70, F2 at 28. This is the IBIS only stabilization. I'm not using digital, and that's a full tracking shot. Very impressed.
This is R6 IBIS. Digital is turned off. And I've also got the battery grip, so it's pretty heavy. I'm using one hand to carry it. And now I'll use two hands.
And this is just IBIS. The later part of this shot literally looks like I'm on a gimbal. I'm really impressed with the IBIS here.
And I'm currently using two hands, and I'm at 28 millimeters. All right, and this is ISO 1000. This is the R6 with the RF 28-70 F2. I'm at 1600 ISO, handheld.
Okay, I don't know about you, but I am really happy with the bokeh light balls in the background of this with that F2 aperture and the RF 28-70's aperture blades. I mean, it's probably the most pleasing bokeh that I've seen yet. So, and what a great display to have the Christmas lights in this particular part of the world right here. It's just absolutely epic.
Also, the low light performance because of the IBIS and the R6 with the F2 aperture, the photos have been very good as well.
And for your viewing pleasure, we have a series of photos and video taken here the same night that I tested the IBIS, where I did the walking tests. And these are all, the dead of night and just using available light. There was a decent amount of ambient light because of all the Christmas lights. But the point here is to just show you how clean all of these photos and videos are. I'm really very happy with the combination of the R6 and the RF 28-70. Again, all of this is shot at f2, and here's a combination of very shiny, sparkly things and IBIS.
While the lens is heavy, I do find that it is easy to wield with or without the battery grip. Considering that I really only pick up the camera on the weekends to shoot weddings, I really don't find too much of a problem with the weight right now, even if I'm shooting for 6 to 14 hours. Especially now that I have the SpiderPro Dual Camera Holster belt. The weight distribution from my two cameras and lenses has been significantly more comfortable and more enjoyable overall than using the strap system. I was using the Black Rapid dual breathe strap system, and while I do think it is very good for what it is, it's definitely not for me.
So in closing, I absolutely love the lens. I can definitely see myself using it for the foreseeable future. Here's my van / mobile studio / camper van / office. More on that later. But back to the lens. So just going over all of the attributes again. The stabilization with the R6, and I'm sure the R5 is, in my opinion, as good as it gets. And having the versatility to have a wider focal length, like a 28, naturally gives you a more stable image. So if you know that you need a very stable shot, you can simply favor the wider end of the focal range for this lens. And then if you need to get something tighter, you have that versatility. So I really do love that I can have that very steady shot, and also with the bright aperture at an f2. That's epic. So IBIS, it's a big win with this lens. Now, as far as the autofocus performance, well, first off, the R6 and the R5 autofocus is literally otherworldly. It is scary fast at what it does. And so, this lens being, in my opinion, one of Canon's greatest optical lens achievements, there's no surprise that the autofocus is like right on point and keeps up in both photo and video. And I think that my testing for this autofocus is as good as it gets. Being a hybrid wedding shooter, I need the maximum amount of speed and versatility possible, and this lens has held its own in every photo and every video scenario that I've put it through. And this is even despite its size. You would think that a lens of this size with the elements that the sizes that they are might be slow to focus. Not at all. It's lightning fast. Now, regarding the size of the lens, it's definitely not for everybody. You really do have to have a good why as far as why you're using this lens. This is not exactly a casual, I want a travel lens to bring with me and has versatility. I would recommend something else, probably the 24-105 f4. That would be my top recommendation for a one and done travel lens or just general purpose lens. If you're a new professional, I highly recommend the 24-105. You really do need a good, strong motivator as to why you're going to use this lens. For me personally, I love the versatility. I love the f2 aperture. I love the image quality, and I love the stabilization that it has. I love the autofocus, but really it's about having that bright aperture and that focal range from 28 to 70, because as a hybrid wedding shooter, I value versatility over everything, and this lens really does provide that, and then some. And also, if Vanessa Joy can use this lens at weddings, I'm sure that you can. But again, you just have to have a good reason why. And maybe above all else, it's a novelty, right? There's only one lens like this in the whole world. No one else makes a lens like this, not that I'm aware of. And so it has this intrigue to it. It's a very special piece of technology and ingenuity, and it's definitely one that I appreciate. It just has this inspiration and awe to it. So if nothing else, it is definitely a novelty. And beyond that, it's kind of like a kettlebell. So you could think of your photo sessions also as a form of exercise. I thank you for enjoying this video with me. I hope that it helps you in your quest for the ultimate lens. I will say the one nice thing about this lens and what it's done for me is that once I bought this lens, I stopped looking at other lenses, because I just felt like I had the perfect lens for me. And it's a really easy thing to fall into the gear acquisition syndrome. So the beautiful thing of buying something once and saving your money and buying it right and just buying the best thing that you can get right from the start is that you just stop looking at gear, and it really allows you to focus on the things that are really important, like your technique, like developing yourself, like your marketing, like dealing with your clients. And so I really do appreciate that this lens has done that for me, especially pairing it with the RF 70 to 200. I literally have everything covered from 28 all the way to 200. I've got two R6s, and in fact now at the time of making this video, I just sold one of my R6s to another wedding photographer in Austin, and I have since purchased an R5. So I will now be using the R5 as my primary camera, and then on my left side I'll be using the R6. So stay tuned for that. I'll be making another video specifically pairing the R5 to the 28 to 70, and we'll do a lot of really fun comparisons as far as image quality goes. I really didn't dive too deep into image quality and into lens characteristics, and I didn't do that because other people have done that on YouTube. And also, if you've done any research on this lens at all, it's basically perfect. It has an incredible level of image quality in every single regard. So I really wanted to focus on the function of the IBIS, its autofocus performance, and just the overall versatility and characteristic of the lens. I wanted to test the R5 hybrid wedding coverage capabilities versus the R6. I'm very familiar now with switching between photo and video on the R6 and what my capabilities and limitations are there. And since getting the R5, I've realized that I can actually program Canon log into the C3 custom video function, which means when I'm in a photo shooting mode, I can actually just press the record button and immediately go into a 60 FPS Canon log semi-auto video mode. And so this is really exciting. This makes it very easy to now shoot raw photo and shoot Canon log video. So I think this is going to be a big step up as far as the color grading goes and overall quality of the product. But really, I just wanted to test it out. It's a natural progression for me. It's a natural curiosity that I have to test out the top equipment in my field. And I definitely think that for a hybrid wedding shooter, the R5 is just that. And so I will be happy to follow up with everyone and let you know what I think of the R5 in relation to the R6, specifically for hybrid wedding coverage. And actually another reason is that I needed a 4K video mode that's not going to overheat, and it's my understanding that the line skipped 4K in the R5 does not overheat, and the R6 does not provide the ability to shoot any 4K modes without overheating. And so this is what I was faced with. I either needed to buy an Atomos Ninja external recorder and the SSD to go with it, or I needed to buy a different camera. And the amount of money it would have cost me to buy the Atomos Ninja 5 and the SSD is basically the same amount of money that it would cost me to upgrade one of my R6s to an R5, which has even more crossover because I'm not going to use the external recorder or the SSD for anything other than the documentary interview jobs that I have. I'm not going to use it for my wedding, or it's very unlikely unless I'm hired on specifically for video. So the point is that the R5 is a much better value proposition for me because not only does it offer me the 4K capabilities, but it also offers me the ability to shoot my hybrid wedding style of coverage. So, I mean, it's just a massive win for me as far as equipment goes. Also, got it at a really good price, which is the same reason that I bought this lens to begin with. So one pro tip I'll give you guys as far as buying new gear is to keep yourself attuned to Facebook Marketplace. And when you see a piece of gear that you might want to try out at the right price, go ahead and buy it. And then you can test it. And then if you don't want to use it anymore, you can sell it. And so if you buy it at the right price, what you're able to do now is you're able to sell it for at least as much as you paid, but likely for more than you paid, especially if you're not in a rush to sell it. That's the key. As long as you don't need to sell something by a certain time, you are going to be able to make money almost undoubtedly. So stay tuned for future progressions with the R5 and the RF 28-70, probably the ultimate, the absolute ultimate combination. So I'm very excited to play with that and many other videos as well. I've been super busy. I'm a solo entrepreneur and I've been starting up this business since about half a year ago. I'm really diving deep into marketing right now, and it's just a lot of things are demanding a lot of my time to make sure that this is a really big success, especially over these next few months. From now in December through March is basically the peak booking season, and so I've really got to step my game up. So if there's a slowdown in YouTube videos, that's exactly why. But I'm in this for the long haul. I'm not going anywhere. You guys are definitely going to see, content around these high-end subjects, like some of the best kit in the world and a lot of hybrid wedding shooting. So enjoy. Thank you again, and have a blessed day. Happy holidays.